build the body, lead the home, honor God. This is where discipline meets devotion. The 3F life: faith, family, fitness. And I'm your host, Connor. Today I want to get into the topic of waking up early and kind of dispel some of the arguments towards not doing this. And I think the other mindset is, especially when you're talking to a lot of men that are like on this self-improvement journey, they really care about building themselves up and, becoming a better man, building businesses and so forth. You get some guys that will talk about like, you just grind through the night, basically. And I'm not saying that this isn't something you can't do, that you can't stay up really late working on your business. But the way that our brains work and our bodies work is when you go to bed late, you're getting poor sleep. But when you wake up early, you're refreshed. You have a clear mind. So whatever you put into your mind, you can focus on a lot easier than when you've spent, a 8-hour shift, 10-hour shift working at your job. Then you get home, you eat, you go to the gym. And then you're trying to do these things like when your brain is like clouded. Like for me, when I would do this, so my job, I've had days where I work like 12-hour shifts. And I'm always trying to go to the gym too. So I would have days where I'd go to the gym before or after work. And then let's say I work like 8 to 6 or 8 to 7 or something like that. And then I come home and it's like I want to work, but my brain literally feels like mush. It's like depending on your job, it's like sometimes you stare at like a computer all day and you're an accountant, for example, or you're like typing, or you're doing inventory, you're doing payroll. Depending on like what you do for work, your brain is going to be like mush at the end of the day. That's why it's easy to like unwind, and that's why I believe it's very important to go to bed early versus going to bed really late. Because when you go to bed early, let's say you go to bed like 8, 8:30, 9 o'clock, all of the like negative things that you're going to do at night after work, because you got to be honest with yourself. You might say like I'm going to work when I get home. But how many times do you say that and you sit there and you play video games until 2 in the morning? Or you sit there and you turn on a movie at 8 o'clock and you're up late because it's a 3-hour movie. You say that and then you watch Netflix and you get 8 episodes deep and then you get no sleep the next day. And then you say like, oh, I'll work tomorrow. And we talk about like procrastination in some of my other videos. But this is like the reality of life as a man. At least for me it was. Is I would want to work at night and then it just wouldn't happen. I wouldn't get the work done. But what I realized when I changed this routine and started to wake up early is when I wake up, I am refreshed. I have a clear mind, and the task I set in front of myself, I can work towards and I can grind on that. And I do this in the hours before my kids are even awake so that I have that time before they even wake up that I can work. And if you don't do that and you wake up late, you wake up at the time your kids wake up, and then you stay up late, you're going to fall into those bad habits, because I know this because I've done it myself. I lived this for years where I would wake up at 8 o'clock, stay up till 12, 2 in the morning, and I'd get really poor sleep, and it's just not good for you. And the other thing is like, the nighttime is kind of when like temptations arise. Most people don't drink like alcohol during the morning. They drink it at night. So the nighttime is when you're going to be invited to parties. That's when you're going to, go have a beer. That's when you're going to do these things that are not good for your health. That's when you're going to smoke weed. That's when you're going to look at porn. That's when you're going to do the video games, the TV, all of this, scrolling through your phone constantly. The nighttime, that's what it is. And if you can eliminate that out of your life and get yourself to the point where you wake up really early. And I might be like an exception. I wake up really early, and specifically because of my kids, and because a couple of them are like really young, so sometimes they wake up at like 5, 6 o'clock. So I want to be up like before them. So I'm in the routine of waking up at 4. I'm not saying you need to do that, but 5, 6 o'clock, so that you can get started on your day. And then when it comes to like going to the gym, I think like there's different ways to look at this. With my schedule and like with the daycare at the gym and everything like this, I tend to go to the gym after I get out of work. Before, like when I was married and stuff, I would go to the gym before work, and that worked for my schedule. So if you go to the gym in the morning, you kind of start your day off really strong. You get a good pump in, and then you get that kind of boost of energy. And when I do it at the end of the day, and I'm not doing this like right before bed by any means, but I'll do this at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I get that pump in, and then I go home and I unwind and I eat dinner, and then by the time I go to bed, I just crash. So like when it comes to sleep, like the gym is going to be like a major benefit to that. So obviously I recommend all of these things like sleep and diet and going to the gym, your fitness, but waking up early is such a crucial part of your life, in my opinion. If you want to be somebody that's chasing their goals and pursuing those on a daily basis, then you've got to start off early. You've got to start working early in the morning. Set whatever your goal is, like on a desk next to your bed or wherever your workstation is, and then wake up and just get after it. I think if you were to ask most successful people, like the time, let's say you did a poll, what time do you guys wake up in the morning? I think the vast majority of them are going to be ones that wake up probably before like 6:30 a.m. And a lot of them wake up even before that. So I think that this is like a really good rule to have. Like if you want to become successful, then you want to model what you do after people that are already successful and that have achieved things that you want to achieve. And obviously it might not always like apply to the direct area of things that you want to do. Like if you want to be a streamer, for example, I'm not saying this video is going to apply to you, because I know that a lot of those guys are like staying up really late playing video games and whatnot. I'm not really a huge fan of that type of business model. Obviously some of these guys are making like insane money, but to become one of those, like, it's just, to me, it's not really like my cup of tea. But to each their own. But if your goal is like to build a successful business and so forth, then you gotta attack in the ways that some of these other guys have. And a lot of this, the great thing about the year that we live in 2025, is a lot of these people like are on YouTube sharing their knowledge. They're giving you the inside scoop on how to become successful. All you gotta do is copy the blueprint. And a lot of them are like really detailed. A lot of these guys have books about how they became successful. And all you gotta do is just follow through, do what they do, and you'll see the results on your own. And that's kind of in the boat that I'm in. Like obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm super successful or anything like that, but I know that these things take time. You got to chip away at things before you succeed. It's not going to be like an overnight thing where you wake up one day and you're successful in whatever your business is. You're going to work for a long period of time and see no results or small results. And then out of nowhere, what's going to happen is things are going to blow up, and you're going to be living the life that you wanted to live because you put the work in, you put the effort in. And I think that's, I mean, you can listen to a lot of these guys. One guy that I really like, I recommend listening to, is Alex Hormozi. He talks about like taking off his gym business, and this guy was like living in his gym for a long period of time, and then out of nowhere it blew up because he put the work in. And I can tell you one thing, like I know that guy woke up early, and I know that guy got after it, and a lot of these other guys that you'll listen to do as well. So replicate the things that successful people do if you want to see success in your own life. If you don't, then keep going about your normal life. This channel is probably not for you. But if you care about the self-improvement, if you're a believer of Christ, if you're a father, check out some of the other videos on my page. If this video made anything to you, if you liked any of the content here, please like and subscribe. Send this to a friend. And as always, God bless.